on record in Washington raised a few eyebrows with this phrase, which is a bit of a provocative phrase, saying that what this region needs is a dose of strategic insignificance. Now, some people say you're arguing yourself out of a job, but that's not quite. And I think John Lloyd, who wrote about it in the maybe I was trying to be a bit too subtle. John Lloyd wrote about the book in the FT yesterday, and he gave me a nice review. But he talked about disengagement. I'm not talking about disengagement. I'm talking about disengagement on that kind of high geopolitical level. That kind of we're battling here with Russia. I think what we should be looking, and that this is all about pipelines, all about NATO expansion, all about these big schemes, which I think actually don't deliver anything in the long run to the people of this region. Even, I would actually say, oil and gas pipelines have delivered them very little. So I think the right kind of engagement is much longer term, less glamorous, and it's all about institution building. It's all about actually building states, proper viable states in this region, and from the bottom up, building institutions which really were paper thin in the past and need to be built up. In that sense, actually, the most important capital for this region is not Moscow or Washington. It's Brussels. That really, this is the one, and it's going to be a slow process because they're quite a long way from European standards on democracy, on the economy. But Georgia, in particular, does have perspectives to harmonize with Europe. It's going to be a very long process, but I think that, and Europe does have interest in the stability of this region, which is, after all, its neighborhood. So I think, on that rather dull note, I will end and say that what really the Georgians need is less glamour, less fewer conversations with Barack Obama and talk about NATO expansion, but more conversations about trade quotas with various commissioners in Brussels, and of course, if we have no news from this region in the next few years, that's probably good news, because it means we've managed to stabilize it enough to avoid the conflict and let these countries slowly grow towards a better future.